curious what your experiences were in terms of like the films that you saw. Like, I don't know if you guys had an agenda before you went there, or if you kind of just went to different films once you heard about them. So I don't know if you could share your journeys a bit.
So we had time to pick our films prior to the festival.
Okay.
We got 10 free tickets at the beginning, and then over the course of the festival, we were able to get tickets whenever we wanted to.
Oh,
whenever
nice.
was going.
Okay.
And so we had time to like kind of decide on what we wanted to see. And I remember calling Whitney and just talking to her and be like, well, I want to see everything that's black. Everything that's black. She was like, yeah, that was my intention. I was like, you know, I was gonna like switch it up and do like half black and then half like everyone else.
Yeah.
But then just as I was reading more about the films that are gonna be there, I was like, I just love everything that's black here. So coming from black directors, producers, cast, whatever, I just wanted to support it. And so that's what I did in my planning to see the films at Sundance. And yeah, so we saw some really, really great stuff.
Mine was just pure anxiety. I actually had.
There's a lot of films.
Yeah.
Like, which ones do I see? Yeah.
When I found out I was going to be going, I started to look at the website, and I remember telling myself every weekend, like, oh, take some time and figure it out, because we had gotten the email saying, you know, you get 10 press tickets. And then the day came, I had forgotten. Niani actually sent me a text, was like, oh, don't forget to get your tickets. So, of course, I go and realize there are over 100 films showing. Like, how am I going to choose 10 out of this 100?
You gotta do your research.
Right. Sure, so I tried to start doing research. So I got about 4 tickets that first day. And then I waited until maybe a week or so before, because we had a little window. So when the window closed, I think I waited until like the week the window was closing to get my last few. And was just like, you know, okay, I'll take these 10, and then once I get there, because there were still so many things that I wanted to see. 10 doesn't even begin to cover, you know, all the things that you could do at Sundance. And so I just figured I'll get there, and then I'll, you know, finagle my way into other things and maybe, you know, go on wait lists for others. But once we got there, it was awesome because the access was, I mean, unprecedented. Like, this is not an experience that like you can really put into words, because when we get there, there were doors open for us that, like, particularly as black women, we would not have had otherwise, you know, if it wasn't for this opportunity. But there was never a shortage of being able to go to a particular film or a panel or the VR experiences that were there. And so, you know, I can't say that there was an exact formula, but I would say that I think we did a pretty good job of like being able to flow through and just experience a little bit of everything. So,
for sure.
I think as an outsider looking into Sundance, you never really, just piggyback off what Whitney says, you don't realize how many films are being shown there. You know, you hear about the Leaving Neverlands, or, you know, the kind of the big things that people are focused on press-wise, but there's so many other films that are just like there.
Find those gems.
And so that was kind of the interesting part, was talking to people and hearing them say, oh, you should go see this, you should go see this, because a lot of times going in, and at least for me, like, I've covered music festivals, so a lot of times you want to see the big bill artists, and then you forget about folks who are, you know, kind of up and coming. So it's the same way with Sundance. A lot of folks go in like, I want to see the big bill things, but like, you know, I think all of us saw The Last Man in San Francisco.
Last Black Man.
Which, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Like, films like that weren't talked about, you know, going into the festival.
But then I heard about it. Going out. Okay. Actually, I'm really curious to hear about the ones that really stood out to you, and your, like, why, and, you know, just being critics now. If you could just give me your views of the ones that you really liked.
Sure.
So.
Well, I'll start.
Yeah.
The first one we saw was Native Son, who's the director? Rashid Johnson is the director. And I love that film because I thought that Rashid Johnson took a more modernistic approach, which we all knew going in that it wasn't going to be really by the book. But he just related to black boys from the North Side, and I just really enjoyed seeing that experience on screen. Something I'd never seen on screen before.
One that you never seen.
Exactly. And so at some points in the film, it's like really graphic, but that emotion that I felt watching the film made me just so intrigued by it. I was like, he was able to evoke this weird emotion that I've actually never felt really watching anything, from a horror film to the most dramatic thing out there. It was just, I had a physical reaction. I was like, that film did something different.
So that's a very popular book as well. It's always interesting seeing the adaptions. Yeah. It sounds like that one did well.
He took a lot of risk with that film, and I think that was like Sundance's theme for this year was like taking risk. Just everything from the way he chose to make the characters compared to the book, and the way that he chose to end the movie in comparison to the book. You know, there were a lot of purists in the audience that asked questions afterwards. There was a Q&A, and they asked about his choices of, you know, why did you do this instead of that, not to spoil the film.
Right.
But
spoiler alert.
Yeah. But there are there's a lot of differences in the film compared to the book, and I think that was a part of that risk-taking element that he, you know, really championed in working on it.
Okay, cool. Any other
favorites?
Yeah.
Last Black Man in San Francisco was definitely a favorite. It's a different kind of film. It has a very indie feel to it, which you don't see, I think, where the lead characters are black.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of films out there that you can name that have that indie, maybe Juno kind of feel, but typically not with black people. And the story is very black, like it's very centered around blackness and black people and the black experience. And so I thought that was a very unique take.
Who is the director?
Joe Talbot is the director of that one. And then one that I think is going to end up being huge is Clemency. It was a very tough film to watch, but it was a very beautifully done film. I think a lot of people have already said that Alfred Woodard may be in consideration for an Oscar, and Neon just picked up the film. So
can you tell me a little bit? That wasn't on my radar.
Yeah, so
sure about that.
Yeah, so Clemency is a film focused on a female warden who is forced to put men to death, essentially. And so it's very different because the focus of the film is not on the prisoners per se, but it's on this woman who runs this prison and kind of the internal angst that she feels and having to essentially take someone's life. And so it was a very tough film to watch for many reasons. Obviously, political climate, but then just to think about someone having to like literally kill someone. Like your job is to end someone's life. It was tough, and it's based on the trial of Troy Davis that happened several years ago. And I remember that trial and kind of I think it was one of the first things I really saw kind of go viral on social media was people talking about the trial of Troy Davis and trying to get him off of death row. And so this story is really based around kind of his story. And I think it will probably be one of the most talked about films of the year if it has, whether it has a theatrical release or comes
Sounds
out
pretty powerful.
But yeah, it was a great film.
Who played the warden?
It was Alfred Woodard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she plays the warden, and I mean, it's a phenomenal performance.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
Native Son is premiering early April.
Yeah.
So plug.
That's right. Go see it.
HBO.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.